Good day, greetings, students. I'm very happy to welcome you all back to your English class. So, children, are you ready for your English class today? So, let's start right away. Today, we are going to start with your textbook, which is Honeysuckle. You have two books for this year, children. You have a textbook, Honeysuckle, and you have a supplementary reader, A Pact with the Sun. So first of all, we are going to start with Honeysuckle. I suggest you to be ready with your book and a pencil. Today, we are going to go with the prose number 1, which is Who Did Patrick's Homework? So in Unit 1, you have a prose and a poem, children. First of all, we are going to start with the prose. And what is the prose that we are going to see today? It is going to be Who Did Patrick's Homework? And in this, Patrick is a person. He's a boy who's going to his school, maybe probably in your age. And Patrick is a proper noun. So whenever you use the word Patrick, it has to be given in capital letter. Right, children? The word Patrick always starts with a capital letter because it is the name of a particular person, which means a proper noun. And this is a story about the boy Patrick. So, who did Patrick's homework? It suggests that someone else has been doing Patrick's homework. This story is written by Carol Moore. So, we're going to start with the lesson Who did Patrick's homework? Are you ready to find out who that was, children? But before we proceed with the lesson, let's talk a little bit about homework. Homeworks, sometimes we feel very happy when we have an interesting homework, whereas when it is a written work, we always try to find some excuses to do it at the last moment. Am I right, children? But a good habit that we all should learn is that we need to finish our homework by ourselves because homeworks are given for practice purposes. So, in this story, too, the boy Patrick learns the importance of doing homework through a hard way. I don't want you to do that, children. I want you to enjoy your homeworks. Yes, children, when we enjoy what we are doing, it will be really giving a good outcome. So instead of just sulking, feeling sad, and just doing your homework as a duty, do it with happiness and take pleasure in studying and getting to know something new. I hope you all are doing your homework with such an attitude, children. Now, let us go to our lesson. Who did Patrick's homework? Patrick never did homework. Too boring, he said. He played hockey and basketball and Nintendo instead. His teachers told him, Patrick, do your homework or you won't learn a thing. And it's true. Sometimes he did feel like an ignoramus. But what could he do? He hated homework. Patrick never did homework. What was one thing Patrick never did? He never did his homework. Yes. Why? Because, just like us, Patrick felt that homework was too boring. And instead of doing his homework, what was he doing? He played hockey basketball and Nintendo instead. What do we mean by Nintendo? It is a kind of video game. Now you have all sorts of games in your mobile, right? Free Fire, PUBG, whichever we tell you not to play with. Just like that, Nintendo was a video game. Kindly underline the word Nintendo and write the meaning next to it, children. And what did his teacher tell him? His teachers told him, Patrick, do your homework or you won't learn a thing. So that is what the teachers tell you, right? The teachers tell you what is good and what has to be done. And it's true, sometimes he did feel like an ignoramus. How do you pronounce the word, children? Ignoramus. And what do we mean by the word ignoramus? The word ignoramus means an ignorant person, one who doesn't mind what he is doing, one who ignores the things that are around him, one who ignores his duty as well. So Patrick was ignoring his homeworks, right, children? So he did feel like an ignoramus at times, but still he didn't sit and do his homework. Why? Because he hated homework. So it's not even just a dislike, it is hate. He hated his homework so much that even though he knew that he has to do his homework, he still wasn't putting it into practice. Cats are famous pets, isn't it? Patrick too had a cat, and one day when he was sitting idle as usual, he noticed that his cat was playing with a doll. So, if our pets have a doll, they do play with it, right? But Patrick found that unsettling. That is, he found that something was different about the doll his cat was playing with. And so he grabbed the doll from his cat. So, what do you understand from this picture? We see that Patrick is astonished, which means shocked, and there is a little doll or man, shall we say. And what is given in your textbook here? Then one day he found his cat playing with a little doll and he grabbed it away. Grabbed it means what? Grabbing means getting it. Okay. To his surprise, it wasn't a doll at all, but a man of the tiniest size. So tiny is an adjective, right, children? So how was the size? It was the tiniest. He saw a man of the tiniest size. He had a little wool shirt with old fashioned breeches and a high tall hat much like a witch's. He yelled, Save me! Don't give me back to the cat! I'll grant you a wish. I promise you that. So, what is the appearance of the little man, children? He had a little wool shirt with old fashioned breeches. What is the meaning of breeches? Breeches actually are breeches. It's not breeches, it's sounded like that for rhyming it with the word which, but breeches are kind of pants, half pants, and a high tall hat. And he was wearing a tall hat like we have seen in Harry Potter movies, right? The witches used to wear a high tall hat. And he yelled, he shouted. Underline the word yelled, children. It means shouted. It is a verb. Underline it with a pencil and write the meaning next to it. And what did he shout to Patrick? He said, Save me! He asked for help, right? and don't give me back to the cat. He requested Patrick not to give him back to that cat. I'll grant you a wish. I promise you that. What do we mean by grant here, children? Giving. Right. So the little man, for us, we will call him as an elf. 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 So elves are tiniest people. So we have heard in stories that Santa Claus makes his gifts with the help of elves, right? So elves are magical creatures, and here this tiny man who might be an elf is telling Patrick that he will give him a wish. And what is he requesting? He is requesting Patrick to save him from the cat and not give him back to the cat. Why? Because the cat is bigger than the tiniest man, and the cat cannot understand what he's saying, and of course, it might eat him, isn't it? Eat him or hurt him in any way. So, to save himself, he requested Patrick and told him that he will give him a wish, anything he wants. Wow, what a chance, isn't it, children? Yes, imagine a magical creature giving you a wish. What would we ask? But let's see, what did Patrick ask? Patrick couldn't believe how lucky he was. Here was the answer to all of his problems. So he said, only if you do all my homework till the end of the semester, that's 35 days. If you do a good enough job, I could even get A's. So, what was Patrick's deal? Patrick wanted the elf to help him with his homework for how long? For a semester, which is 35 days for Patrick. And if the elf agrees to help Patrick, and if the elf does a good job, what Patrick expects? Patrick expects that he would get top grades in the class. So A is a good grade in the class, isn't it? So he is asking the elf to help him with his homework till the end of the semester, which is a period of 35 days. And he's also making a point to tell the elf that if at all the elf does a good job with Patrick's homework, then Patrick could get A grades in all the subjects. So, luck has come in Patrick's way. But will the elf accept this deal? The little man's face wrinkled like a dishcloth thrown in the hamper. He kicked his legs and doubled his fist, and he grimaced and scowled and pursed his lips. Oh, am I cursed? But I'll do it. See, we have used an interjection here, isn't it, children? Yes, oh is an interjection like we have seen in our previous class. So, what is the little man doing? The little man's face wrinkled. Wrinkled means something that is not neat, something that is not pressed with lots of lines in it. So, when we wash our clothes, we dry it, right? We squeeze it and dry it. When you squeeze it and dry it, there will be lines on it which are wrinkles. People, when we get old, our skin gets loosened up and you can see lines in your face. So that's a wrinkle. The little man's face wrinkled like a dishcloth because he was not happy about doing the homework of Patrick. And what were his reactions? His face wrinkled, he kicked his legs and doubled his fist. Fist means when you close all your fingers into your palm and tighten it, it becomes his fist. So he doubled his fist and kicked his legs. And how was his facial reactions? He grimaced, scowled, and pursed his lips. Grimaced means an expression that is given on your face when you feel disgust. When you really hate something, then you grimace. Scowl is a reaction we give when we are angry about something. Pursing our lips means when we do not talk and keeping it in a thin line. So, how did the elf react? He grimaced, scowled, and pursed his lips. But at last, what did he say? He said that he has no other way, so he will do it. He will do Patrick's homework for a semester to get away from the cat and help Patrick as a written gift for his help. We have come across some new words in this paragraph. What are they? Wrinkled, washcloth, hamper, grimaced, and scowled. Out of these, we have seen the meaning of wrinkled, grimaced, scowled in detail. Washcloth, as I said, a cloth that is used to wash vessels or clothes, even like brushing, right? Like that. We have a washcloth. Kindly add those words to your vocabulary page, children. Continuing with the lesson, and true to his word, that little elf began to do Patrick's homework. So, just like he promised, the little elf started to do Patrick's homework. Except there was one glitch. How do you pronounce the word, children? Glitch, not glitch, it's glitch. 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 Glitch is a problem, a setback. What was the problem here? The elf didn't always know what to do and he needed help. So the elf couldn't do Patrick's homework all by himself. Always he wanted some sort of help from Patrick. So he was repeatedly asking Patrick for help. Help me, he'd say. And Patrick would have to help in whatever way. So there are different subjects and different homeworks, right, children? So whenever Patrick had different homeworks, that means he had to help the elf to do these different homeworks. So that means Patrick really had to have an idea of how to make the elf do his homework because the elf didn't go to a school and he was not aware of how to do homeworks or neither did he understand how to do his homeworks. So he always nagged, he always asked Patrick for help. And how would he ask? Help me, he would say. And what Patrick should do? There was no other option for Patrick but to do some sort of help. Whatever help that the elf wanted was done by none other than Patrick himself. So, even though the elf started to do Patrick's homework, there was a problem, there was a setback in it. And what was that? The elf was not able to do Patrick's homework by himself. He always wanted and expected Patrick to help him to do Patrick's homework. So Patrick had no other option but to help the elf in whatever way the elf wanted. So, what kind of help did the elf want? He didn't know the words. Yes, I don't know this word. The elf squeaked while reading Patrick's homework. What is the meaning of the word squeak, children? Squeak means like shouting. Okay, it's a form of shouting in a high pitched voice with a shock. So the elf squeaked that he doesn't know the word while reading Patrick's homework. And he asked Patrick to get a dictionary. Get me a dictionary? No. What's even better? Look up the word and sound it out by each letter. So, what did the elf want? The elf wanted Patrick to refer a dictionary and read out the word, and especially dictate the word letter by letter to the elf so that the elf could do Patrick's homework. And alas, Patrick had no choice but to take a dictionary and do as the elf wanted him to do. If Patrick thought this was difficult, when it came to Max, Patrick was totally out of luck. That is, he had to do a lot of things. So, out of luck is something happening when it is least expected. So, the elf used to ask, what are times table? What do we mean by tables? We elves never need that. We didn't want to learn multiplication, so we never knew what are tables. So, Patrick had no help from the help when it came to maths and addition and subtraction and division and fractions. Here, sit down beside me. You simply must guide me. What did the elf say? We don't know what our times table, and we elves never needed that. And I don't know what are addition, subtraction, division, and fractions. So, what he has to do, what Patrick has to do? Patrick had to sit along with the elf while doing the homework and had to guide the elf all through his homework. So, in short, the elf was taught by Patrick to do his homework. Elves know nothing of human history, so to them it's a mystery. So, mystery means something that we do not understand, right? So, what is a mystery, children? Mystery is something that we don't understand. How someone reads so many books is a mystery. How children remember so many spellings of long words is a mystery. It's a talent, even, right, children? So, just like that, elves do not know human history, so the elf found human history to be a mystery. So, the little elf, already a shouter, just got louder. Go to the library. I need books. More and more books. And you can help me read them too. What did the elf do? He was already shouting on the homework, and now he got a little louder and told Patrick to go to the library and fetch many books. Yes, the elf wanted Patrick to bring lots and lots of books. Not only that, the elf wanted Patrick to read those books to him so that he can do Patrick's homework. Do you think it is the elf doing all this work? Let's continue with the story, shall we? As a matter of fact, every day, in every way, that little elf was a nag. A nag means a problem, a disturbance. So every day, the little elf was a nag. He was disturbing Patrick in all such ways. He was provoking him. He was literally a little torturing him. Patrick was working harder than ever, and was it a drag? What do we mean by drag? A long time frame. Shall we say it's a long time frame here, children? Yes, drag generally means to pull something. So the work was going on and on and on and without end. He was staying up nights, had never felt so weary, was going to school with his eyes puffed and bleary. So what was Patrick doing? He was awake for most of the nights because he had to help the elf to do his homework, and he had never felt so weary. What do we mean by weary, children? Weary means tired. What is the meaning, children? Weary means tired. And how do we pronounce it? Weary. He never felt so weary. Right. And he was going to school with his eyes puffed and bleary. So, how was his eyes in the morning? When you wake so early or when you don't have a good night's sleep, you would feel a little bit of irritation in your eyes and you would feel that they are swollen, right? They are big in their size. Like that, Patrick felt that his eyes were puffed and blurry, and it was the fact because he was staying awake for most of the nights. So the elf was a nag, and Patrick, poor Patrick, was working harder than ever, and it was a long time that he had to stay awake for many nights and finish his work with the help of elf. Or was it the elf doing the work, children? Let's continue. So in this picture even we can see that the elf looks like a strict person and he's ordering Patrick to read something. Yes, the elf always wanted Patrick to fetch many books from the library and read it. Find the dictionary, find the words, and give the meaning to the elf. Also, Patrick had to read out the words letter by letter so that the elf could do Patrick's homework. Oh, poor Patrick had to stay awake for many nights now so that he could make the elf do his homework. And for how long is it going to continue, children? It's going to happen for a semester. And how long is a semester according to the story, children? It is a period of 35 days. And do you remember why the elf is helping Patrick? It is because Patrick saved the elf from his cat. So, as a written gift, the elf told that he would grant a wish to Patrick, and all that Patrick wanted was the elf's help to complete his homework for a semester so that he can get A's in his examinations. So now, finally, the last day of school arrived and the elf was free to go. Yes, the semester came to an end, and more than Patrick, his friends, and anyone else in the school, the elf was very happy. Why? Because he was free to go. As for homework, there was no more. So he quietly and slyly slipped out the back door. Quietly and slyly. What is the meaning of the word slyly, children? It means secretly. Since there was no more homework, as it is the end of the semester, the elf was happy to leave Patrick's home and without even bidding goodbye, he just quietly and secretly leapt out the back door and left Patrick's home forever. Boy, was he happy to go out of Patrick's home? Yes, because now he doesn't have to do any of Patrick's homework and he doesn't have to get scared of Patrick's cat too. Isn't it, children? So let's read this paragraph once more, children. Finally, the last day of school arrived and the elf was free to go. So Patrick could not stop him anymore. So, what was the deal, children? That Patrick would save the elf from his cat and the elf would do Patrick's homework for a semester, that is, a period of 35 days. That was the deal between Patrick and the elf. And now, since the last day of school arrived and the elf has completed his deal, his part of deal, he was free to go. And No more homework. So happily and quietly and secretly he slipped out the back door without even saying a goodbye to Patrick. Do you think Patrick missed the elf? I don't think so, because the elf was really a nag, isn't he, children? And what happened to Patrick and his subjects? Patrick got his A's. He got top grades in his class. His classmates were amazed. They were shocked because, of course, your friends know you very well. When Patrick, who is always, staying back in his homework, and now he got top grades. So his classmates were amazed. His teachers smiled and were full of praise. Praise means appreciation. So the teachers appreciated Patrick for his grades. And what about his parents? They wondered what had happened to Patrick. What has happened to Patrick? He was always staying in his room, not tidying his room. He was not doing his usual work, his chores. But now he was the model kid. He was a kid who would be a role model, who would be an example for other children. He cleaned his room, did his chores, was cheerful, never rude, like he had developed a whole new attitude. And what was the changes the parents could find from Patrick? He cleaned his room regularly and he did his chores. Chores are daily work. Repeated work we do every day is called chore. So, we waking up and taking our dog for a walk is a chore. Or maybe if you're watering your plants every day, it's a chore. So, chore is a household work that you do every day. And he was very cheerful. Earlier, he was very gloomy, he was sad about doing his work. Now, he was very cheerful, he was never rude. And how it was? It was like he has developed a whole new attitude. What do we mean by attitude, children? An attitude is a way of behavior. It is a particular way of behavior of someone. What is attitude? Attitude is a way of behavior. So, do you think everyone liked this new Patrick? Yes, his classmates were amazed, his teachers were happy, and of course, his parents were very happy about him. So, children, these are the expectations that your parents have on you too. I hope you fulfill it, children. Now for a secret. You see, in the end, Patrick still thought he'd made that tiny man do all his homework. But I'll share a secret just between you and me. It wasn't the elf. Patrick had done it himself. That's true, children. Do you remember? The elf wanted Patrick to read the words, find the meaning of those words in the dictionary. And he wanted Patrick to sit beside him and guide him through maths. And when it came to human history, Patrick was asked to read a lot of books by the elf. So Patrick himself got top grades in his class. The elf didn't do any of Patrick's homework. He just made sure that Patrick thought that the elf was doing the homework, but in reality, the elf made Patrick do all his homework by himself. And here we have a phrase between you and me, which is used to mention a secret. So when you want to share a secret with someone, we say between you and me. That means it stays a secret and I have shared it only with you. And you should not be sharing it with anyone else. Right, children? So just like cats and dogs, you can use this idiom between you and me when you're talking about a secret to someone. So, in reality, when Patrick thought he made the elf do the homework, it was poor Patrick himself doing all the homework. Yes, poor Patrick, because he had to stay awake for most of the nights. It was not because of the elf, but it was because of Patrick's laziness earlier. So, children, we should not time put off our works for a long time. We have to keep doing them in the right time so that we will not be nagged by some elf. Right, children? Now, let us understand what we have learned from this lesson. You all have got different ideas, perceptions about homework. And what is your takeaway from this lesson? What is meant by takeaway? What did you understand, or what is the lesson you have learned from this particular story? Because again, perceptions differ. So I want you to write in your notebook under the topic My Takeaway at least any 4 points about what you have learned from this story. Frame your own sentences, children. I'm sure you're now able to frame your own sentences using the 9 parts of speech that we have discussed already. So look at Patrick's room, children. Isn't it tidy? And his cat is happy in its chair, isn't it, children? So you too keep your room tidy and do your chores regularly. Help your parents as much as possible and and let's not forget the magic words that we have learned already. Yes, please and thank you. So make sure you use those magic words, children. And now we have a few book back exercises to work out. There are 7 questions, of which 3 I will do, and I'll give 4 to you as homework. Are you ready, children? Fill in the blanks in the sentences below with the words or phrases from the box. You may not know the meaning of all the words, so you can use a dictionary and you can ask your teacher as well. So, words we know, and what are phrases? These are groups of words which do not give you a complete meaning, right, children? Those are called phrases. So, let's start with the first one. Some people find household dash a bore, but I like to help at home. So, should we look at the words in the help box, children? Out of luck, mystery, true to his words, chores, semester, between you and me, look up. So, out of luck, when we find something that is unexpected, mystery, again unexpected, and we do not understand what it is. True to his word, following a promise. And what are chores here, children? Chores are the household work we do, right? Some repeated activities. And semester, period of 35 days. Between you and me is a phrase which means a secret. Look up means find. So, what do you think would be the right answer here, children? Yes, household chores. Good. The next question is who stole the diamond is still a dash. So, something that you don't know and you don't understand. So, what would be the answer, children? It is mystery. The next sentence we have here is this dash we are going to have a class exhibition. So, when we are talking about class exhibition, what is the related word we have, children? You're right, semester. Now it's your turn to finish the remaining 4 questions, children. And here we have a crossword puzzle in your book too. I'm not going to do the crossword puzzle. I'm going to be that elf here who's going to give you the idea of how to do the crossword puzzle. But it is going to be you who's going to do this crossword puzzle in your book, children. And please take a photo after completing your crossword puzzle and try to reach it to me, children. So we have across and down, and we have about 8 questions, right, children? So, what are the clues you have got? Very tired. So, may I tell the answer for this one alone? Yes, very tired means very. WEARY. So left to right. Across means what, children? In a horizontal way, left to right. So, and down means top to bottom. Right, children? The first one is very tired, and the answer is very. Right. The second question is had an angry look on the face. Have to go back in the video and see which is the word that means had an angry look on the face. The third clue is short trousers. That is like pants, half pants. Yes, we discussed about it. And find its spelling, children. A fault in a machine that prevents it from working properly. So, like a problem, a glitch, isn't it, children? It is a glitch. And remaining is for you to figure it out. Do well, children. So that brings us to the end of this session, children. I'll be sending your classwork in Google Classroom. Kindly write your classwork neatly. I hope you understood the lesson. Thank you and have a thrilling Thursday, children.